Yo guys, what is up? It's Teach here, coming at you again with another video over on Ark Survival Ascended, and I wanted to show you how to do 10 individual mods that console players should check out. Now these are 10 mods that are geared specifically, and I went through each and every mod that I've ever played, and I geared 10 mods that are currently listed in ASA that will be, 1, easy to run on a console, and 2, self-explanatory. And these will be very useful for console players, especially when they're first starting out, never played with mods before. These are things you're going to want to check out. Now let's go ahead and get started with this list. If you don't mind, smash that like button, leave a comment below for the algorithm, and then consider subbing to the channel. I've been getting close to 100k, and that's been my dream all along. All right, so without further ado, let's go one more time. The reason these 10 are listed this way: consoles are gonna have a little harder time running things by themselves that are a little bit bigger mods. So these are smaller size mods, and they are great entry-level mods that are simple to figure out. All right, so the first one is actually really cool. It's probably one of my favorite mods of all time from any Ark. So it's called Shiny. Now, Shiny is a special kind of mod, and basically what it allows you to do is randomly generated on the map, it will spawn in and give you the exact coordinates of special dinos. Now these dinos have slightly increased stats. Sometimes they have special abilities, but it's not very common. And they can essentially be tamed or killed, and they will, 1, provide you with an opportunity if you kill one of these to get tech slowly over time. And then if you want to tame them instead, because you like how their colors and stuff like that and their appearance looks, you will have the opportunity to tame them, and they'll get the slight increase in their stats. So this is probably one of my favorite mods of all time, and it just does a really good job. It's very seamless, and these randomly spawn. It'll tell you across the top of your screen. It says, hey, this dino has spawned in, and it's super easy. Now it's a very low input mod, or low cost on your machine, so it's very easy to run something like this, and it's just a lot of fun because you can make this one of your missions, right, to go tame the lichen Dilophosaur or the gilded Gallimimus. Now these are just fun things to do. It adds a bunch of really cool features like that, and it's super easy to run. Now the next thing, this is a little bit harder. This is my number 2. These are potions, right? Now potions, just so you can see, potions kind of add a whole bunch of different kind of things to your game. Now this one that I'm talking about right now is called Crazy's Crazy Ascended Potions, and you can basically see that they have lots of different individual values to them. But the reason that I think it's something that you might want to check out is it's a very light thing to run, because it basically just adds a little bit of help, essentially, if you want to think of it that way, a little bit of help for you in the game by the use of a potion. Now these potions are something that I think would be cool to have in regular Ark, but some are a little bit broken, so you have to keep that in mind, right? Like the Hulk potion gives you a huge amount of crazy strength and carry weight for a total of 10 minutes. Super crafting potions, and you can essentially use these, and they'll give you a whole bunch of special perks and stuff like that. You can see, give your dino a dose of radiation to make it mutate. Have fun with your radiations. It only stacks in 2, so just so you can understand that. But you also have to make them, so it's not like super broken. Some of these are like Forever Baby Potion, not very hard to make. Healing Potion, kind of difficult to make, right? But you can see it heals the dino riding to 50% health, so it's not super broken, and then 20% or 25% health. Now then the mutator one, you would think that'd be expensive, and it is, so it's kind of hard to get a hold of it, but it's kind of a fun thing to get a hold of. So Crazy's Crazy Ascended Potions, awesome little thing for you. Now the next one, number 3 on my list, is a super cool one. This is the first time I've ever seen this, by the way. So this one is called your Stat Implant, and basically what the Stat Implant is a mod that will track the individual kills, solo kills, deaths, and sniper kills that you have inside of the game. And the cool thing is, every time you die, you'll drop a Stat Implant, and it'll track the specific stats at that point in time, so you can kind of see how you've improved. And especially if you're playing on a PvP server, how you're actually comparing against to other players, like how many long distance kills you have, solo kills, regular kills, and then deaths overall. It's just a cool little tracker that adds some fun. Again, very light mod, very light, and that's the point of these, but it's a cool little thing that adds in a unique feature for you. Now the next one, this one is not something that I can show you other than just kind of going around and checking out the levels of the wild dinosaurs. This one is called your custom dino levels. Now, custom dino levels essentially reverses the island spawn tree, if you want to think of it that way. And that allows for you to spawn in guaranteed high level dinos. And by that, I mean not always high level dinos, but instead of making everything level 5, 10, 15, 25, it reverses the scale. So you have a higher probability of getting things to level 150 or closer to level 150. So that means that you're going to have less of a pain in the butt in order to actually tame things, which is, in my opinion, a huge game changer. For simplicity's sake, but it's also not broken, and that's why I like it, because some mods are broken and they make everything level 9 million or does 9 million damage. This one is a super light one, super simple, that just restructures how your tames and how the stuff in the wild actually gets leveled. I'm trying to find something so I can show you, but unfortunately nothing is spawning on the beach, and it's almost kind of funny how few things are spawning in. But yeah, so it's a super nice mod, very light, but it just makes a little bit of quality of life a little bit easier for you on the Ark. And I literally can't find anything, but other than that, it just, you install it and you set everything to official settings, and that's all you have to do for a mod like that, where it just restructures how things spawn in level wise. So super easy, super fun, and it just adds a little bit of quality of life. Now the next one is one that some of my friends actually, oh, there's a dino, perfect. Level 25, not a good example, but the next one is a mod that some of my friends have made, or they're in the architects, and the architects have essentially made a structures plus kind of version of something where you can essentially have foundations and special structures that will stack, and those like foundations that can stack, and you can see that there's also half foundations and stuff like that, so you can basically make that different kinds of structures do different things, and you can press Z to snap it, unsnap it, and you just like have special stackable things that allow you to make more custom stuff inside of your game. Now you can also track what you can actually make just by typing in ASR. They add a whole bunch of genuinely fun building things, right? Because sometimes Ark doesn't let you do things and you're like, that makes no sense at all. Why can't I do that? A mod like this is very light on your system, and it's very easy to add into the game. And it just adds a lot of unique features that you wouldn't expect, right? So you can see there's variants, and you can press T in order to cycle them. There's thin mods. There's it's just a good thing, and you can rotate it around, and it just allows you to change some of the basic concepts inside of Ark. Now, I like when you have a mod like this because you're able to actually see that there's differences. It does a good job of actually holding to those levels too, so you can see that even though it still takes up the same space, visually it looks a lot better. So Architect Structures Remastered allows you to stack foundations and kind of have more custom stuff, and I think that's an awesome feature to have inside of a mod. Now again, super simple, right? Now the next thing I want to show you, this one is more for just a good overall mod to have access to. It's called the Caves Teleporter. Now this is a simple one. You literally click a button and it will teleport you to any cave that you want to go to, including the Pearl caves on the island. There's all 12 of them right there. And then it also has all of the actual artifact caves, because one of the most painful things, especially when you don't have cryopods, is having to go to these, and then it just takes forever. So if you use this, it'll just give you the ability to just teleport to any cave. I'm just going to say I want to go to, let's just go to the tech cave, right? Now, it's going to spawn you out in front of the cave, and that's super useful, right? Because now I know, not one, if I'm new to the game, I can learn where the tech cave is, and two, it just gives me a super nice thing in order to be able to just travel around the map and to go to some of the more difficult things no matter where I am. And it just nicely drops you right outside each of the caves individually, and it's just going to be a nice little feature for you to have access to. So again, super simple mod, super lightweight on your computer, or your console, I mean, and it's a fun one to have. Now, the next one, this is where we get a little bit more intense on your computer itself, but the resource gatherer machines, right? So you can see that there are different machines that you can craft here, and these will essentially burrow. Oh man, I didn't mean to do that. I still had this thing out. I'm gonna go and get rid of my teleporter real quick. But basically what I want to be able to do, oh man, my Onyx was killed by an Onyx. That's kind of funny. Wow, I don't know what's going on here, but whatever. So anyways, you can see tier 3, and you can have this really cool looking, and it's a new structure model. You've never seen something like this before, right? So something like this, you can literally take this right here and then put in a resource gatherer offhand, and you can do that by having your different resource gatherers, and you can gather slowly, by the way. This is not something that's going to replace your generic way to gather resources. It's just going to give you a very basic resource gatherer. They'll save you a little bit of time for some of the frustrating things like black pearls and element and some of the stuff that's harder to get a hold of inside of the island map especially. So this one will give you quick access to some basic resources. And again, just, you know, it's called the resource gatherer. So I'm just going to type in a resource again. And you can see that you can actually insert a thing inside of these machines, and it allows them to, it does require power, but you can see up on top now it's going to produce potatoes. Now it'll do one every 10 seconds, a Saba root every 10 seconds. So it's more of meant for like solo play or unofficial play for sure, because it's definitely a mod that can be a little bit broken. But if you're looking for a more solo play, so you don't have to like spend 4 hours gathering one thing, this is a great way to go ahead and introduce mods to your experience. Now another one, right? I'm gonna move even further down the beach because it's getting a little dark on that side. But I wanted to show you the, I guess, put down these down first, the upgrade station. Now, in my opinion, these combination of mods are one of my favorite things in the entire planet. Reason being is sometimes in Ark, it takes 16.5 years in order to get something that's a decent blueprint or a decent weapon from a drop or anything in general. And what you can do with the upgrade station is you can essentially take your generic low-level stuff. Let's say I want to have a reinforced whip, right? I can actually reinforce this with the repair requirements that it has, but I can also look at the attempt upgrade option, and you can see that I need those things right there, and I can give a chance to upgrade it to a ramshackle or upgrade it to a journeyman, and you can get it up into the ascendant range. Now it's quite expensive to do that, but it's actually a very, very fun thing to have access to, and you can salvage them too. So if I wanted the resource, right, I could click on this and I could salvage item, and then I won't have to worry about, it's kind of like a mini grinder if you want to think of it that way. Salvage all items, and it's just going to automatically give me those resources, which again, super useful thing. And I'll show you how it would work with a long neck, just a generic one. Here we go. Oop. And if we take that and we attempt an upgrade, you can see that we got, it raises it to a 148, even though I just made that. And you can raise these things to pretty cool levels, right? So there's 229 and there's a 260. I can attempt an upgrade, but you can see that you need more wood in order to upgrade it or attempt an upgrade one more time. So it's a pretty cool mod that allows you to do some really neat things. And I don't know, mods like this make it fun, and it gives you, especially for single players where it's like, I don't have access to some cool loot. You can slowly earn that just by getting the resources to do so. Now the next thing, you've already seen it in my inventory, the super spyglass, right? Now the super spyglass is something that's a lot of fun to use, right? And you can see that it gives you a couple of nice features. It's going to highlight a tame, and it's going to tell you exactly everything you need about that tame in order to tame it, what the points are, if it's got mutations, as well as the coordinates that you are currently existing on the map. And it also gives you a nice little reticle display so you can actually see what you're looking at, right? Now I like it a lot. It just gives you a nice little thing, and it doesn't like clog up your entire screen, and it's very it's intuitive to be able to figure out how to do this. You literally just have it out, and then you can also have it out while you're using other weapons. You don't just have to have it out. It's kind of like a toggle menu kind of thing, and it gives you the ability to see everything, including like if you look at the bottom, you can see what actually requires the tame, so you don't have to go online in order to figure out the exact taming requirements or take a wild guess and mess up. So it's a mod that's a lot of fun, and it'll tell you everything, how to tame a creature, all the stuff that you could possibly need, right? So last mod, and again, I've got 10 easy ones for you to download, and that should be fun for your system. And it's another one that, in my opinion, is one of my favorites of all time. This is the Utilities Plus mod. It's kind of based off a different mod from the, how do I say this? It's based off a different mod. That's all I need to tell you. But it gives you the ability to have certain things that are not on the island. And these reinforced things have slightly better statistics, right? And they're basically usable, so it just gives you the opportunity. So the whip, it brings the whip back onto the island, and that whip will function normally as a whip, but instead of going down at an insanely fast gathering rate, it'll go down at a much slower rate and actually be fixable. So you can actually use that kind of stuff, right? So you can see that there's a different way to make it instead of just having to use silk. But it brings a bunch of stuff to the game, and I've got other mods in here that you can see that these are all kind of like, you don't have to follow my rules at all, right? Because you can do whatever you want. But there's like reusable spears, reusable bolas, reusable things. Like I can basically have a bola in order to access, where's bola? Let's just go ahead and make one. So instead of just throwing it, right, I can now have one of these and then throw it, and then I just immediately gain it back. Slash, it just never, you only need one, right? And I think that's a really cool thing because in my opinion, it's so stupid that I've got to stack like 800 bolas in my inventory if I want to go after something and get lucky, right? So having something like this, very useful. And I also like that it's very seamless. It's another one of those mods that does not cost a lot to your system to run, but it is very useful. It's one of those quality of life mods that is a lot of fun for especially PC users that have been using a mod like this forever. So you can see that you can't, it'll even give you a nice little readout. I cannot do this for this, so it's going to get pissy with me. But bolas work just like normal bolas. It's pretty fun. And yes, green, can bola that guy. And it works just like a normal bola. It just basically gives you the ability to continue to trap things. So super useful mod, and all 10 of these are really good mods to be able to use. Very easy quality of life improvers, and just in general fun mods to have access to, especially because they're all low intense on your system. Especially if you're running on console, it's just a great mod for you. So hopefully this helps you out, and again, if you don't mind, smack that like button, leave a comment below for the algorithm, and then consider subbing to the channel. All right, Teach out.